I started off like a lot of guys, side-scrolling my way through the 80s, an 8-bit sprite with more firepower than pixels. When the 90s came along, I signed on with Marathon Software to star in their original first-person shooter. Mad Hazard 3D went straight to the top of the charts. It was the first in a string of hits as long as my... well, let's just say it was long. Really, really long. Marathon signed me to a lifetime gig, and I branched off into every action niche imaginable. Spy thrillers, survival horror games, fantasy adventures.
Hey, it's too bad those games are fictitious because they actually look pretty bitching. Hey, it's Andrew from Controllerpunch, and I'm here again with Racky.
Good. How's it going?
Not so bad, not so bad. And today we're looking at Eat Lead, The Return of Mad Hazard, which is kind of an odd title for a game, considering it's not a sequel.
No, it's a brand new franchise. It's brought out by D3 Publishing, and it's supposed to be a little tongue-in-cheek.
I don't know, from what I've seen from this game, I mean, I think they had a pretty good concept when they started out with this.
Well, I mean, that's exactly the point. The concept, the idea behind it is actually great, but the execution, it falls a little short.
Alright, so give me a little bit of a rundown. Who the fuck is Mad Hazard?
Well, Mad Hazard is Will Arnett, and if there's any reason to pick up this game, it's to hear his voice acting, and the voice acting of Neil Patrick Harris.
Oh, Doogie Howser.
Yeah, the Dukester.
Right on.
Now, it's a weird day in gaming when the voice acting is actually better than the rest of the game, and unfortunately that's the case with Eat Lead.
Alright, so tell me about the positives of this game.
Well, aside from the voice acting, the cover system is pretty functional. It works well.
Right on.
Unfortunately, though, the weapons are completely underpowered.
Well, here's a Super Soaker.
Yeah, I mean, that's an in-game joke, but it kind of proves the point. The gunplay never really gets that fun.
Since this is a shooter, tell me about some of the guns that you run across in this game.
Well, you know, it really puts the arse in arsenal in this game. You get your obligatory power-ups, you get your sniper rifles, you get your machine guns. Like I said before, it all feels so underpowered that you never really feel like you're a badass kicking ass.
Yeah. No, I mean, visually this doesn't look so bad.
I'd say that the video is lying to you. When you actually play the game, you find that the environments are kind of bland, even though there's a variety of them. The enemies are not very well modeled whatsoever. Really, Matt's the only standout character, and, you know, the rest of the game seems kind of a little half-assed, unfortunately.
Now, I've known you for a long fucking time,
Yeah, you have.
and I've never known you to be on the fence about a game.
True.
And I find it a little disconcerting.
Well, I mean, I think the thing is that I really, really want to love this game. I think this is a genre that needs more exploring in the gaming industry. You know, satire on games. You know, Grand Theft Auto kind of does it well. I wanted this to be a look at 80s, 90s gaming, and them giving it the fist in a controller punch style way. And at the best of times, maybe it gets 50% there, 60% there.
Is that like a flick instead of a punch?
It's more like a nose pick.
Oh, shit.
This boss battle is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Who hasn't wanted to kill an effeminate anime character with a shotgun or a pair of rifles?
Totally, I
would take a shotgun to my copy of Final Fantasy VII. That game sucks.
Yeah, fuck Final Fantasy VII. Fuck all you fanboys who think that's the greatest fucking game ever. It's not. Final Fantasy 3 was better.
Or 6 in Japan.
Fucking QuickTime events.
Yeah, see, this game does all of the things that are wrong with video games, but you never know if it's being facetious or not, and that's kind of the problem. It's a game that is so middle of the road that you almost can't have an opinion about it.
Which explains being on the fence.
Exactly. Now, you know, look at this boss fight. So there's a 70s black exploitation character in it, and you kick his ass. But then you have a scene like this where, you know, you've seen noobs do this before, and you laugh at them.
Yeah, no, this is where I headshot them for being stupid.
Yeah, so there's a good mix of great and terrible in this game.
And while mixing great and terrible, I guess, gives us mediocre, I kind of have to give credit where it's due for taking shots at Final Fantasy, taking shots at Duke Nukem,
taking shots at Halo, taking shots at a lot of great games. The only problem is they don't dial it to 11, and if they did, we would have a much better product.
What do you think? Worth a rental at least?
Well, I mean, it's a lot of cheap, easy gamer points, and it has liberal amounts of Falcon Punching.